Hi, everyone. Welcome to my Real Estate Investors Hangout. I'm so glad you made it tonight. Thank you all for coming. Tonight, I'm going to be demoing a new app. And I just heard about it today, so it's kind of on the fly. I learned a little bit about it this afternoon, so I changed out whatever I was going to talk about tonight, and you'll see that coming up in 2 weeks. So it's a new app to help you find cash flow, to help you find profit in your rentals. It works on mobile and desktop. So I'm going to start the video, and then I will welcome you again. And hold on just 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to my Real Estate Investors Hangout tonight. And I'm doing this intro again. If you're already on the pre-hangout, this is for the YouTube watchers because the video doesn't show up on there. So tonight I'm going to be talking about the Revestor app. They are coming live with an update on August 15th, and I'm doing a preview demo for you tonight to show you how you can find cash flow properties and find profit, cash on cash return. All those things are calculated for you. It's so easy. You're going to love it. So thank you all for coming tonight. I really appreciate that. So there's no slides tonight. It's mostly going to be screen share. So I'm going to start that in just 1 minute here. Let me check on the room and welcome everyone for coming. So if you could type into the chat, type in where you're hanging out from. I'm Janice Bell, and I'm hanging out in San Diego. Next week, I'll be on vacation, so I won't be doing a hangout, and I'll send you all a replay via email. And the following week, I'll be back and either doing an interview or talking some more about out-of-state properties and property management. So, all right, we're going to jump right in. Go ahead and say hello. I think the chat box is on. There we go. All right, so go ahead and type in there whenever you join in. I'm going to start the screen share for you, and we're going to jump right into Revestor, which I already have preloaded. All right, let's talk about Revestor. I just want to make sure everyone can still see me. I'm going to move this over here. All right. So what I did was Revestor is on your phone as well. It's an app. It just didn't have as many functions as it does right now. I'm going to be showing you, of course, the desktop version. It's easier to show on this computer and on this Hangout. So, and I'll be checking the chat, as we go along just to see if anyone has any questions. All right, so anyway, let's jump right in. I have chosen an area in Phoenix that I know fairly well. It includes 2 zip codes. So just to get us started, I typed in 1 zip code. It didn't cover everything I wanted. And I typed in a 2nd zip code. It wasn't really where I wanted. So I typed in an address, and it gave me the area surrounding that address pretty much in a concentric circle. So I can take a look at various properties there. Now, anything in green actually is cash flow, and we'll look a little bit at what that actually means. Revestor is letting you check this out before they go live, and they're asking for comments. I did set up an account. I'm not signed in right at the minute. But if you want to check this out, you need to go to temp.revestor.com. And instead of going to the regular Revestor site, you'll be able to go to the temporary site. So I don't know if you can see it up here. I'm just going to spell it out again. Temp, temp.revestor, revestor.com. So go there and, I guess you can give them comments the first thing I would like to know is why I can't sort by these columns here. So I typed in an address. We're going to look at these. But when I type on price, it doesn't sort by price. Right now, what it seems to be sorted by cash flow. So I'm hoping that's going to change when they go live, but I don't know. So let's go down and look at some of the things that I pulled up. And instead of just randomly looking, I'm going to look down at some houses that are, under 100K. Let's just look at those as rentals. And I do have a rental in this area, so I know pretty much what I'm looking for. This one is 4 bedrooms, 2 baths over here, right near the 10. If anyone knows the I-10, going from LA, all the way east through to Alabama, it goes right through Phoenix. So let's look at the details of this particular house. So we can just click on this in Revestor and it'll pull it up. All right, so here's the pictures, and it looks like this is it. There's no other picture. So that's all you get. They have some Zillow estimates up at the back, up at the top. I don't pay too much attention to what Zillow says. So if you look down here, it's going to give you your cash flow immediately in green. And your purchase price, all these things are on sliders. So if you think you can get more, you would change that. Now let me look at it, take a picture of the house. In this case, I think they put the rent too high. Really do. Maybe down here because it's a 4-bedroom. For a 3-bedroom, I get like $850. Okay, so 4-bedroom, yeah, you might get a little bit more. So it still has a profit. It was just estimated too high. Can you get this for less if you negotiate? Now, unfortunately, since it's not live, it's on Vestor. It doesn't say how many days it's been on Vestor. I suppose if you click through to Zillow, it might tell you how many days it's been on Zillow. But say you could get it for $95,000. As we go down here and give ourselves a little discount, you get more cash flow per month than if you've paid the full price. Not a lot, but it changes it a little. All right, the monthly taxes are really estimated based on what the taxes are. The insurance is probably what the insurance is in that area. I pay normally a little bit less than that. No HOA, no Melrose. Management, they have management kind of pegged at 8%. Actually, let's see. Let's make it, 10% of the rent. Let's put it right there. Mortgage details. You're going to put 20% down, 30-year mortgage. You can get a nice fixed rate. That's your interest rate probably for an investor, and that's going to be your mortgage payment. For an investor, you really can't put down less than 10% anyway. And what's your end game? Are you going to buy and hold the property? You're going to keep it for 5 years. If it appreciates at 4%, you bought it at 99, it'll be worth 120. That's your cost to sell with a realtor. They estimated at 8%. You can put 10 or whatever you want. So that's going to show you your profit. And when over here, it's going to show you net profit. It's including your cash flow and your profit from selling it for $20,000 more than you bought it for. So let's go over some of these numbers. Excuse me. So your net operating income is $795, and that's the rent really minus your expenses. So your cap rate is 9, which is really good. And your cash on cash return is 23%. Now 23% is based on what you put down. So your cash flow per month, it's a percentage of how much you put down, your cash on cash return. Sorry, your cash on cash return at the end, making this profit, is based on what you put down. So that's your return on investment for buy and hold, 177% of what you put down. Because you put so little down, you made a significant amount based on the cash that you put in. So as you can see, the less cash you put in, the higher cash on cash return you get. Okay. Let's bring it back to 20. All right. So that's how little you could invest and get a house in Phoenix. How many people have an old 401k or something that has $20,000 sitting in it? This is something that's doable. Now, you do have to find another person to lend to you because you can't get a loan from a bank on that. So let's say you borrow from someone else's IRA and you pay 6-7%. Let's say you pay 7%. You're still cash flowing. You're still cash flowing every month. Let's say you went up to 8. You still have cash flow. If you have this much in your IRA can own the house. You borrow from someone else, not a bank, because you can't use your own credit as a way to invest in your IRA. It has to be a non-recurring loan, it has to be the loan. I can't even think of the word right now, but you cannot use your own credit towards your IRA investment. So find someone else to lend you the money, and you're still going to cash flow on this particular house in Phoenix, which is really nice. So all the numbers are there. I really like the way the slider works, and you don't have to go stick it in a spreadsheet and do all those things to figure it out. So yes, you're going to be paying a higher interest rate. So your cash on cash return, your return on your $20,000 down is 13%. But that's still good because in a lot of parts of the country, you can't get any cash flow. So anyway, that's the first one to look at. Let's go back and look at another one that might be a little bit cheaper. I do wish there was something that said go back to my search, but I don't see that. So we started with 99. Let's go to 59. I bet you anything this is a condo because it has a number on it. All right, let's skip that one. Let's go to Alvarado Road, and that is a $90,000 property. All right. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,700 square feet, fairly large for that area. Sorry, I seem to have a frog in my throat today. So this one has more pictures. Let's take a look. Yes, tile floor, classic for that area. Tile floor everywhere is really just what you want. It looks like these people could move out very quickly. It looks like they might already be trying to. And that's what a backyard looks like in this part of Phoenix. It's dry and you have a concrete wall. So typical house for the area, that's your purchase price. I would say 800 is about right. Mine is 850 because I have a pool at my rental, which I wouldn't recommend, but that's just the house I ended up with. Okay, taxes, insurance, and management fee. Let's bump this up to 800 to 80 bucks there. Doesn't change it too much, but all right. So your cash flow is 150 a month. After all your expenses, you have net operating income of 532. Some of that's going to go towards your mortgage payment. Let's take a look at that. Okay, your mortgage payment will be $376. Okay, so you take your net operating income, which is everything left over after your typical expenses. And because every house is not financed, you might finance your house, but other people don't. So they don't include that. They just talk about insurance and taxes that everyone has to pay. So you take your 532, you minus your mortgage payment, that gives you your cash flow. All right, so the cap rate on this is a 7, and your cash on cash return will be 10% on the $18,000 that you put into it. All right, so your net profit overall, I think it's probably a 5-year hold, is $20,000 based on a 4% appreciation rate. Well, what if you held this thing for 10? Let's see. So if you hold it for 10 years, your net profit's going to be $52,000. It's going to be worth $134,000 given a 4% appreciation rate all along. Okay, so the longer you hold the house, the better off you're at. Let's say you don't have that long of a horizon, but we'll put it back to 5. Okay, and you see the net profit goes back down. What if you're holding this thing for 20 years? Let's say 18. What if you want to hold this thing to put your kid through college? You buy it when they're born, you put them through college, you're going to net $100,000 on this house, more than $100,000. So you could take a small amount of money now and put it into this house rather than one of those fancy college accounts that probably won't earn that much money. I would put it in here. I'd put it, right into a house and use that. In fact, you can put some money into a Coverdale, but while you're accumulating, you would have lost the appreciation that you would get on this house. So if you have some money to get started, I'd buy that house right away. All right, let's see what else there is in this area of Phoenix. So we had a $90,000. Here's a $92,000 house. Another typical Phoenix house. Do they have pictures inside? Yes, they do. They have it tiled already. Cabinets are okay. Good for a rental. Looks like they had a standing wood burning stove. Classic backyard. Actually, this property's on a wedge. It looks like a wedge type. So you got to put in the stove. No big deal. That's what it looks like. The roof doesn't look that bad. It does have a swamp cooler on the top. Bathroom's not too bad. Looks like linoleum in the bedrooms. I would tile the entire thing. You don't want any carpet in a rental in a heated area like that. All right. There's plenty of pictures. And it does have a carport, which is nice because it is so hot there that your car is unbelievably hot when you go out to it. All right. So let's look down. 92,000. I bet you can, you can collect 800 on this house. Fix it up a little bit. I would put maybe 3,000 to 5,000 into it. That's it for fix up. There's your taxes, insurance, and your management fee. They did put 8%, but I would still go up to 10. All right, again, you're going to put about 18,000 down and get a fixed rate loan. That's your interest rate for an investor. Let's bring up I love these sliders. Aren't those great? I mean, you just slide it in and now you know what your profit is. It changes everything over here. It is just a great website. All right, your net profit on a 10-year hold is $50,000 and you are getting $155 a month. This really works out great. Okay, your cash on cash return is 10% on the cash that you put in. Can't get that in the stock market. And your cap rate is 7. Okay, an excellent, excellent rental. Let's go back and let's look at something a little bit cheaper. We've been looking in the 90s. Let's see if there's some cheaper ones down there. All right, you can see as you get into the more expensive houses that they don't cash flow. So another reason why I look at the cheaper ones. This one probably cash flows because it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. It's probably nice. It's 1,700 square feet. Yes, it's a newer home. So it's going to rent for more money. You're going to pay a little more for it. You can collect $1,400 in rent, which is pretty accurate. And you got to put down, another $12,000. Okay, let's do that one. Your net profit's still $42,000. So you got to put a little bit more down. So it just depends on where you're at with that. But if you do hold this for a 10-year hold, now you're going to you've made $100,000. So if you have a little bit more to invest, you can buy a newer property. Let me look at the summary here. They're just going to talk about it. Maryville's hot. Yes, it is. They'll give you the street view. This is an area that's all new homes. It looks like it is across from some kind of a school or a park. It's a park. So it's an area of new homes in the same area. I'm sure it looks good inside, but they might not even show us that. No, oh, there we go. All right. It's newer, less work to do, probably built late 80s, I would guess. I'm sure that's on there if you click through to Zillow. Oh, there it is. Built in 2003. What am I saying? All right. So it's a newer home. You have a lot less to do on this property, and it's tiled. So you're going to get nicer tenants. I will tell you that. The tenants will be better because they're making more money and they can afford to pay you $1,400 a month. Fewer evictions and fewer vacancies. So if you have a little bit more down, look, it's actually 14,000 more than the other houses we were looking at. You can end up with a little bit nicer house and better tenants, less hassle. All right. Anyone who has a lot less money, let's go back for you and take a look at that condo. All right. Yep. It's a unit. Okay. I would strongly suggest checking into some of these units and find out how stable the HOA is before you invest in anything. All right. So this one up at the top here, it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, built in 71, and it's 900 square feet. So fairly decent size, not huge for a 2-bedroom, but you can get it for $60,000. Can you rent it for $850? For $750? Sorry, maybe $700. I'm going to bump it down a little bit there, just to be realistic. You still get $220 a month, and there are HOA fees. The HOA fees, if you're from California, you will notice the HOA fees in Phoenix are a lot lower. They're generally around $100 a month, and that's excellent. You might have a little bit lower fee on your management because it's a condo. They don't have to deal with the outside of the house. You would only have to put down $12,000. So if you want to invest in a condo, go ahead and put down the $12,000. The HOA fees are much lower than in some other parts of the country, and you've got yourself a nice little rental. Hold it for 5 years, and what do you have? Let's go over here. I know this is in gray, but that's the size they have it on there. So again, your net operating income after expenses, including the HOA. So these would be the expenses here: taxes, insurance, HOA, and management. So it's rent minus that is your net operating income. Then you pay your mortgage after that. So we're going to go to net operating income, subtract our mortgage payment, which is a laughable $250 a month, and you're going to net $220 a month after that. That is a good cash flow for any repairs or any vacancy that you have to deal with. You just start banking that money. You got a 9 cap on this, so that the cap is higher on this condo as long as the HOA is in good shape. You don't want to buy a property and all of a sudden have a owner's call on the HOA where you have to put in $10,000. You definitely don't want that to happen. Okay, and so even in 5 years, you're going to have a profit of $20,000. It's a very nice return. So in order to do this, I thought I saw it somewhere. There was oh yes, down at the bottom, you can call the realtor and it has their office number. So you can just go right there, and you can also save it. So when I'm logged into my account, I would be able to save this or print it out. Right now, I think I'm not logged in. So anyway, remember, if you joined us late, go ahead later after this. Go to temp.revestor.com, and that's how you can do a preview of their new app. I'm assuming you can preview it on your phone, although I haven't set that one up yet. Anyway, I didn't look. It's typical for condos for them not to really give any more photos than that. They just kind of drive by the outside, and that's about it. All right, so that's kind of a summary of what you can get in Phoenix. Again, I picked out a nice area. You can go to any area in Phoenix that you want. You can zoom in. I will mention that for those of you who do look at some other websites, this is very common to just have the map at the top and your search down here. So I do think it's a copy of some other areas that some other websites that I use that I won't go into right now. All right, so let's go to a totally different part of the country. Now, I am going to do California at the end, so you California people, hang in there. Let's go over to Michigan for those inexpensive rentals. As you can see, you could grab an inexpensive rental right here in Phoenix. I'm going to plug into an area that I also know outside of Detroit. I tend to stay in the suburbs outside of Detroit, and I do have a rental right here, so I can as well verify the rents that you're going to get. I mean, you can always go to some of the other websites just to check the general rents. Rentometer is one of them that just gives you rents. All right, so I'm going to go down again, searching for the cheaper houses, 100,000 or less. That's probably more than you might want to buy, but it would have the same numbers as the last one we did. Let's look at something. Let's go down to 59, because here, little do you know, you can buy a 5-bedroom house for $60,000 in Dearborn. It's near the Ford factory. There are plenty of jobs there, and it has a very high cap rate. All right, so there's the house. It probably doesn't have any. It has a separate garage in the back and a nice yard, and notice the yard is green. Nice hardwood floors that they have refinished. Storage underneath the stairs. They have completely taken out the kitchen. That's why this house is cheap. It's really not that bad. It looks like someone was doing some work. They might have had water damage because I see the stuff coming away from the wall, but all right, so what do you get here? You get a house for $60,000. It's going to need probably 15 in work, knowing the cost of labor in this area, maybe only 10 to get it ready to go. Can you collect $1,200? For a 5-bedroom house, yes. I collect about $850 for a couple 3-bedroom houses. And you can get Section 8 there, although in this kind of house, I wouldn't. I'd stick with regular renters. Taxes. The taxes could be a lot higher than that. They could be way up here. No joke. Okay? So just be aware. Your taxes could be $300 a month. How do I know that? Because I have those tax bills for like $3,000 a year on those houses, or $3,600 a year. Your insurance is about right. There's no HOA. What's your management fee? It's going to be 10%. There's just no way you can. I wish they wouldn't leave it at 8%. It probably just makes everything look better on their site. If you put 10% down, what are we buying it for? We're putting 20% down. So if you have $12,000 sitting around, okay, do you want to buy this house in Detroit where you have to deal with snow? Or do you want to buy the condo in Phoenix? That's kind of your choice. With that length of the mortgage, which is the 30-year. What's your end game? Keep it 5 years, 4% appreciation. Maybe, maybe not. There's some appreciation going to be forced when you actually just fix it up. I bet this house will be worth $20,000, $30,000 more when you fix it up. And you maybe only put in 10. Houses without well, that one has a kitchen, but it still needs a lot of work. All right, so your rent which is collected here, minus your expenses is your net operating income. Then from there, you're going to subtract your mortgage payment of $250, and that's going to give you your cash flow. So remember, net operating income is this upper amount minus your mortgage payment, and that will be your cash flow. If you had no mortgage payment, let's watch, your cash flow would go up. So let's see. Say you bought it with cash. Okay. So now your net operating income is $699 after expenses, and you also receive $699 a month. So when you put all cash, that's what you're going to get. So your cap rate will be much higher. Let's go back to 20. All right, so it's got a cap rate of 14. I will tell you that your vacancy and your issues with evicting people and maybe damages are going to be higher than they are in other parts of the country. So that's not figured into the cap rate. So you have to look at, your realistic vacancies and things like that. All right, again, your net profit will be nice after 5 years, $34,000. Let us try one more. Remember, this is a Detroit suburb. It's outside. It's outside of the real Detroit. I'll just call it that way. This one is in another city, Garden City. It's a 3-bedroom. It should be a little smaller, built in the 40s. Yes, this is your typical bungalow. In that, with a 3.2, you're going to get that rent of $8. So you're going to pay $74,000 for this house. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. I don't think the rent's that high, but it could be. Taxes are higher because remember, they're all in the same county. The taxes are by the county. So I pretty much know the taxes are up here. You might get lucky, but check it out. 20% down, same loan, and your mortgage payment is $300 a month. Keep it for 5 years. All right, so your cash flow is about $300 a month. Let's take a look at the inside, see if there's any repairs. Wow, nice kitchen. All right, this thing has been done over. Well, it might have been done over. It might be a rehab flip because I would say that's pretty much perfect. I have not, you never see this. When people move out, it does not look like this. Someone just came in and finished it, and they even painted the basement walls. The furnace is in, it looks good. The water heater looks good. The toilet's clean. It has a new breaker box, which was not put in the 40s. And it has these block windows. The block windows prevent people from breaking in. And so you should always replace your basement windows with those block windows. And I've done it on every house that I did over there, that I flipped or kept as a rental. All right, so that's what it's going to look like. Let's see. Let me see if there's one more in this area, and then we'll switch to an area in California that people are familiar with. All right, so that one was cheap. Okay, so now we're going to get into, do you want to see what one looks like that's $29,000? Let's go for it. That would be same as the condo. And now Inkster Road's kind of a main road. It doesn't look that bad, really. Let's look at the pictures first. Someone's cleaned it up. It does have carpet. I bet you anything there's hardwood floor underneath there. Not a bad looking house. It was built in the 60s. Zillow estimates it higher. Maybe it's in foreclosure, or there could be some high taxes on there. So you can put down $6,000 and buy this house. Your cash flow is going to be $600 a month. Your cash flow will be zero when you don't have a tenant in the property. So one thing, so what you want to consider is Can I get a tenant in for a couple years, get a little appreciation, get enough profit and cash flow so that I've pretty much paid off the mortgage? Okay, because you're not going to get a mortgage on this house. It's actually too cheap. You have to borrow money from someone or put in cash. So, you know, if you put in cash in, $30,000 and you own it, all the cash flow is going to be yours. Say you put 40 down and you borrow the rest from a friend or a partner, you're going to be splitting that. It's a good way to go. Go with 50% and have someone else put in the other 50%. Buy the house and you're going to be splitting this cash flow. At least you don't have to go talk to the bank when the tenant moves out and you're not wanting to make that payment. Okay? Because you're really, they don't want to lend on anything under 100K. So usually I would buy with cash, fix it up, and sometimes I would refinance it. There are some lending programs that will finance if you're above 50,000 or above 75,000. Not that many of them. That house didn't look too bad. Let's see if we can find one that's really doesn't look good. There's always those. I was surprised. Okay, well, 10,000. Let's look at that. Almost looks like a modular home, but I know they don't do those there. And of course, there's no pictures. So we don't know why that one's 10,000. It looks like you could click on these houses and see more, but based on this trial app they're giving me, I really can't do that. All right, here's another. Let's see, try to find a really cheap one. Okay, here's a much smaller one. That's a 2-bedroom. Here's a 45. Let's look at that. Okay, this one's 45,000. It's brick, which is amazing. And really, it doesn't look too bad. It might look really bad inside. Let's get backs up to the school. And it's listed by Century 21. I'm going to check out one of those really cheap ones, because usually when you see the really cheap ones, you know that they're not very good inside, but maybe the realtor doesn't want to post bad pictures. Here's one. Okay, here's your classic. Okay, there's a reason this one is, $7,900, and you can tell why. It needs a roof. They put a tarp up there. Okay, so we don't even have to go in. Oh, we can go inside, but we don't have to. It does have hardwood floors. Guys, listen, you can polish up those floors. This over here is the vent showing you where the furnace ducts come up from the basement. I would take off that paneling or just paint it. A lot of people have this hard paneling here. Nice built-in cabinet, but it does have bars on the windows. Sometimes the inspectors make you take those off these days. The very old doors, I think this was built in 55. There was a leak in the roof. You can tell now the paint is peeling off the ceiling. That's why. And it has a wall air conditioner. It probably has mold everywhere. I actually walked into a house there once. The toilet in the upstairs had started leaking and overflowing, and water was just basically pouring down through the ceiling and into the kitchen. So we called the realtor and at least let him know. The old tile, the penny tile on the floor, bathroom's not too bad. With mold, you're going to have to totally redo this house. So if you wanted to know what a real difficult rehab looks like, that's it, guys. Oh, I was going to check the meter. Looks like there's 2 meters, almost as if Well, that looks like they just added on a second one. All right, so that's the end of that one. That's how you can use Revestor to find houses in the Midwest. I'm not even going to look at the numbers there. Yes, you'd get a lot of cash flow. You couldn't collect much rent. It said 500. So anyway, that's how you can use Revestor there. Let us try. I'm going to try a zip code that I have properties in as well in California, just to keep those California people looking. Now, if you have questions, I will look back at the chat. You can go ahead and go ahead and put something in the chat if you have any questions, and I will get to those at the end. All right. It didn't bring up much in that zip code, did it? And they don't cash flow. So again, this is a live demo. I just found out about it today, so I wasn't able to, check out every single zip code. Let me try a different one here. See what we got. Wow, not much for sale. This is why I mail to these properties, because we can't find anything here. There's a lot of landlords, but not much for sale. Again, they're all in the red. Let me just put in the whole thing there. Okay. We have, 3 flips going on right now, but now I know why it's hard to find a property. Okay, we see one cash flow. I just typed in Sacramento. So one cash flow down here in the southern area, and they don't know much about it. It was built in 1935. It's listed for 165, or maybe they just don't have the information in there. 1935, sorry, not 65. It's $165,000. Here's the details coming up. It's not really giving us square footage. I guess it has no information about the inside of the property. Let's see if it has any pictures. Oh, it does. All right, so someone's living in there. It's fairly decent. It's usable. It has grass. And that's the house. All right, so let's go down. 165. Can you collect 1,300 in rent? Probably. We don't know how many bedrooms it has, so that makes it a little hard on this one to change anything. You'd have to put $33,000 down to get this house, and your mortgage payment would be about $700. So again, your net NOI is based on the rent minus these expenses, and then from that you have to make your mortgage payment, which is about $700, which leaves you with $238 a month. So again, it's something that does cash flow if you prefer to invest and stay in California. Again, in 5 years, it doesn't mean you're going to make any more. But then again, in California, our appreciation rate, could be higher. So you might make 50,000 in there. So that is a California one. Let me go down to a lot of my people who watch are in Southern California. So I'll pick out an area there and see. I think you're going to find that nothing really cash flows when you take a look down there. Let's see. All right, so this is in Riverside. It's really right in the city of California, city of Riverside. Let's see, everything there is pretty expensive. Go to an area down near San Diego that I know about where there are some cheaper properties. Again, not too many. All right, so let's see. We've got some condos down here. There's a big list. Space, there's a condo for, no, those aren't even condos. Those are mobile homes. Again, nothing in the red. All right, I know that's a mobile home. It has to be. This is probably a mobile home. It's not even a condo. This might be a condo. 124. Okay, well, it's down in National City. That's why. All right, let's look at this one. And if it doesn't show the outside, it's really hard for me to tell if it's a mobile, but it could just, it's an awfully big kitchen for a condo. It's all new inside. Come on, let's see. Ah, it's a mobile home. Sorry, guys. That's what happens in our part of the country. Mobile. So a condo is usually more like this in these 300s. Let me see if there's anything. So say you had to buy something. All right, let's look at I know that it's a 3-1, 900 square feet, built in the 50s. Doesn't really cash flow. I mean, 27 a month doesn't count as cash flow. This is a house. You would look at this house and go, wow, this house looks like it would, like the Phoenix houses. All right, so it's 990, it's 1,000 square feet, basically a 3-1. You're going to pay $300,000 for this house. They're very tiny. They have one bathroom. Not bad for the kitchen. At least it's not a hallway kitchen. You can actually eat in it. Got some pavers in the back. Washer dryers on the patio outside. And that's it. All right. So you're going to pay $300,000. You can collect $1,800 in rent probably. Monthly taxes are going to be, the yearly tax is going to be 1% of what you bought it for. You got to put $60,000 down, as opposed to in these other areas that we looked at, you could have bought the whole thing for $60,000. And your mortgage payment's $1,200 a month. If someone moves out and is not paying you, you have to cover this. All right. So that's kind of why it's a lot harder to do rentals here in Southern California. If it does appreciate, you'll get some appreciation. Your net profit, though, is no different than it was in other parts of the country. The thing is, you had to put a lot more money into it, and you were at a much higher risk based on the mortgage payment. Okay, you put in this much money, you had this risk with the mortgage payment, and you don't make that much more. And there's really no cash flow to speak of, so you don't even want to count that as cash flow. That doesn't do anything. So that's kind of how Southern California works. Just wanted you to know that. If people want to go to Texas, certainly, there's other things that cash flow there. Let's see. There was another one. Okay, this was a 2-unit. At least with 2 units, if someone moves out, someone's still paying. So it's not as bad. Okay, so let's see if we can get some pictures here. This is in San Diego, near downtown. Yes, they definitely added on to this nice old bungalow and added this other unit on the side way before permits were required for it. They probably wouldn't want to do that now. So you can see they just attached to that house. All right. So $379 gets you 2 units, I believe, because There's 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. So I'm sure it's split between those 2 units. Could be 3 units. Maybe there's a studio in there. You've got to put $75,000 down, and your mortgage payment will be $1,500 a month. Your net operating income is $2,200. Mostly, okay, because you're collecting rent from 2 people, so $2,900 in rent. And after you subtract your mortgage payment of $1,500, there's $600 left. So not too bad. If you can get the price down a little bit, which I doubt you can because there's not many of these, you might get a little more cash flow. It's not going to change anything that much. If you want to move into a unit and be an owner occupant, you can get your interest rate down. It's going to change it a little bit, and that's going to give you higher cash flow. And some of the people in there are going to be paying your mortgage payment. So anyway, that's a good look at California. I'm going to check over the chat, see if anybody has any questions for me. I see Denise is still watching. Denise, thank you for watching. And a few other people are in there. If you have any questions, go ahead and type into the chat, and I can answer those. Anyway, what I'd like you to do is go to temp.revestor.com and just check out their website. You can pretty much go, anywhere. Oh, just to show you where there's San Diego, and I typed in National City, so it showed me some of the cheaper rentals down there. If we go up here in Central San Diego or where, the rest of us live, it's you're not going to find that. Let me type in another one and just see. Just want to see what's on the market. I have a friend buying some properties up in this town, and I'm going to have her on in a couple of weeks and have her tell you what she's doing. I think she started a year or 2 ago, and she's been very successful. She has about 5 properties right now and probably 8 tenants, or 10 or 11 tenants, because she has some duplexes. All right, so there are some cheaper properties up here. I know that's probably a mobile home. This might be a condo, so let me check on this. No. Mobile home. That's a mobile home, I'm sure. Mobile home. Yeah, it looks like a mobile home. All right, so let's see if we can. It'd be nice to find a condo. Mobile home. Mobile home. You can see you can't even find cheap condos here. Prices are just high. There's a nice little house for $300,000. Let me see. Yeah, that's a mobile home. That's probably the cheapest you're going to find, is that $300,000 one. Mobile home for $175,000. Who would really do that? I know, it's California. All right, let's go back to this one. Okay, one more in this area. Now the cap rate's going to be only 5%. Do they have pictures? That'd be nice. Oh, a nice little living room with a fireplace. It was built in 1960. It's really been redone. It has nice tile. It's kind of cute. Of course, we don't have any water here, so we're not watering our lawns. Not a bad little house. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So you're going to get $1,800 in rent. There's really no cash flow for you. Your NOI is $1,200, but you've got to get a really good mortgage, and your mortgage payment is $1,252. So because you have some, operating income, but the mortgage payment is going to wipe that out. So there's no cash flow here. This is what people do in Southern California. They keep the rental as a wash and hope that appreciation is going to give them this profit at the end. And so because we have high appreciation, this is the gamble people take. And as you know, in 2008, that gamble did not work out when the prices fell. So the reason people do California rentals is because you see there's no cash flow in there. I mean, 25 doesn't make a dent. All the profit is coming from your appreciation. They hope to make $150,000 if they have 10% appreciation in 5 years. So what happens is they triple what they put down. So tripling your money in 5 years sounds really good. And that's why people are willing to take this kind of cash flow in order to get that kind of profit. And that, my friends, is really what happens in Southern California. If you want to understand a California investor, just come right over to the spreadsheet and figure out what they're doing. So maybe you don't get 10% in 5 years because things go up and go down, but maybe you hold it 10 years. Now you went through a whole cycle down and up. Now your profit's 500,000. Is that possible? I don't know. People did it in between 2006 and 2008, and they made that money just before the crash. So, or they bought it in 2002 and made that kind of money in 5 or 6 years. So it is possible, but again, it's a gamble. While some people made money, a lot of people lost. So if you want a nice cash flow rental, try going to another area. So anyway, I'll check the questions, see if there's any questions left. I do have my ebook posted up there. If you're interested in private lenders and developing your own private lenders, go ahead and click on that link. It's just a free ebook, and it will allow you to develop your own private lenders and have some people helping you do this kind of investing. So I'm going to stop the screen share for now. Bring me back over here to this screen. I've got multiple screens going on. So anyway, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight to my Real Estate Investors Hangout. I do the Hangout every Thursday night. I really appreciate you guys coming, and I enjoy teaching you and sharing with you the experiences that I've had in real estate over the years, and even new things that just come up. I mean, today I was watching an app, and in the app, these guys who own Revestor are up at a conference in San Francisco, and they were doing a live show on Periscope. And so I watched Periscope, and they said, hey, we have a temp app, and we'd like your feedback. So could you go ahead and check it out? So I did, and that's the result of tonight's broadcast. So thank you all for coming. Next week I'll be on vacation, and I will send you all a replay of one of our previous Hangouts. Thank you very much, and you guys have a great weekend and a great 2 weeks. I hope you enjoy the end of August and everyone gets in some great vacation time. All right, thanks everyone. Good night.